Undercover black boss orders toast at his diner. Then a whisper behind the counter stopped him cold. The man in the corner booth didn't look like a millionaire. His jeans were faded, his jacket plain, and the baseball cap shadowed half his face. He stirred his coffee with slow, thoughtful motions, as if he had nowhere else to be. But in truth, this morning was years in the making. Because the man wasn't just any customer. He was Marcus Ellison, owner of the diner he was sitting in, and no one in that diner had any idea. For weeks, Marcus had been reading complaints, anonymous notes slipped into suggestion boxes, emails from customers, and even whispered warnings from his managers. Some said the staff at Ellison's diner were overworked. Others hinted that a new supervisor, Clyde, treated them unfairly when no one important was around. Marcus had started that diner 20 years ago with his late father's recipe book and a dream to build something honest, something that gave people a chance. His father used to say, "You can tell a lot about a man by the way he treats the one who brings his plate." Now Marcus feared that lesson was being forgotten inside the very walls he built. So he went undercover. He parked his car 2 blocks away, tucked his gold watch into the glove compartment, and walked in like a traveler stopping for breakfast. The bell over the door jingled, but no one greeted him. The waitress behind the counter was scrubbing dishes like her life depended on it. Her apron was torn, her shoulders heavy with exhaustion. "Morning," Marcus said gently, taking a seat at the counter. She glanced up with a tired smile. "Morning, sir. Coffee?" He nodded. "And a side of toast, please." Simple order, simple test. As she poured his coffee, Marcus watched the rhythm of the place, how the cook moved, how the servers glanced nervously toward the kitchen door, how conversations stopped when Clyde walked in. Clyde was a broad-shouldered man with slick-back hair and a constant frown, the kind of man who loved authority more than responsibility. Marcus had hired him 6 months ago, hoping to ease the pressure on the staff. Now watching how the man barked orders and rolled his eyes at employees, Marcus felt his stomach turn. "Maria," Clyde shouted toward the waitress. "You forgot table 5 again. You want me to do your job too?" She flinched. "No, sir. I'll take care of it." "Yeah, you better," he sneered, before turning toward the cook. "And stop burning the eggs, old man." Marcus's jaw tightened. That old man was Gerald, a loyal cook who'd worked for Marcus since the first day the diner opened. He was 57, diabetic, and still never missed a shift. Gerald didn't respond, just quietly flipped another batch of pancakes. Marcus caught the faint tremor in his hands. The boss in disguise took a sip of his coffee and waited. When Maria brought the toast, her eyes darted nervously toward Clyde, as if even serving food might be wrong somehow. "You okay?" Marcus asked softly. She hesitated, then whispered, "Some days, no." Before he could reply, Clyde's voice thundered again. "Maria, don't stand around talking. Move." She winced and hurried off. Marcus felt the fire rise in his chest. He'd seen enough, but he needed to hear it. Not as a boss, but as a man who cared about his people. He motioned to Gerald. "Mind if I ask you something, my friend?" The cook looked up wearily. "If it's about the food, I'll fix it right up, sir." Marcus shook his head. "No, it's about the people here. Is everyone treated right?" Gerald froze. His eyes flicked toward the kitchen door, where Clyde had just gone. Then he leaned closer. "Sir, between you and me, this place ain't what it used to be. Folks used to smile. Now they just survive. We miss Mr. Ellison, the real boss. He cared." The words hit Marcus like a blow. He swallowed hard, forcing his voice steady. "You ever met him?" Gerald chuckled faintly. "Once, years ago, shook his hand. He told me, 'You keep the grill hot, and I'll keep the lights on.' Haven't seen him since, but we talk about him sometimes. Good man." Marcus looked down at his coffee. Maybe he's still around, watching. Gerald smiled sadly. "If he is, I hope he remembers us." That's when I heard it. The whisper behind the counter that froze him cold. It was Maria's voice, faint, trembling. "Don't tell him too much. Gerald said anyone talking bad about the diner gets fired. Marcus's stomach turned. Fired for speaking truth? He stood quietly, laid some cash on the counter, and walked out before anyone could stop him. But this story wasn't over. The next morning, the entire diner buzzed with rumors. An SUV had pulled up before sunrise. Men in suits followed a tall figure inside. Maria's heart raced as she saw the same man from yesterday, only now he wasn't wearing his cap. His posture was firm, his eyes sharper, his presence commanding. Clyde strutted out of the office. "Can I help you, sir?" asked him arrogantly. Marcus smiled coldly. "You can, Mr. Clyde, by packing your things." The color drained from Clyde's face. "What? Who are you?" "I'm Marcus Ellison," he said evenly, "owner of this diner." The silence was thick enough to choke on. Cups froze midair. Gerald dropped a spatula. Maria gasped, her hand over her mouth. Clyde stammered. "So, sir, I didn't know." "That's the problem," Marcus interrupted. "You treat people right only when you know who they are, but real respect isn't selective. It's consistent." He turned to the staff. "I came here to see how my diner was doing. What I found was exhaustion, fear, and silence. That ends today." Tears welled in Maria's eyes. Gerald looked down, wiping his hands on his apron. Marcus continued, his voice steady but full of emotion. "I built this diner to be a second home for anyone who needed a start. My father taught me that a business is only as strong as the hearts that run it. You are those hearts, and I failed you by not being here." He faced Clyde again. "You're fired, effective immediately." Clyde stormed out, slamming the door. No one stopped him. Marcus looked around. "From now on, we rebuild together." Weeks passed. The diner slowly came back to life. Marcus worked side by side with his team, flipping pancakes, taking orders, washing dishes. Customers began returning, drawn by the laughter that filled the place again. He gave Maria a promotion to floor manager. Gerald got new equipment for the kitchen. The entire team received raises and benefits, something Marcus made sure to personally hand them with a handshake and a smile. One night, as the diner closed, Maria approached Marcus. "You didn't have to come back, sir. Most bosses would have just sent an email." Marcus looked out at the neon glow of the sign, Ellison's Diner shining brighter than it had in years. He smiled. "I didn't build this diner for money, Maria. I built it for people. And people don't change through words. They change through presence." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for seeing us." Marcus smiled softly. "No, thank you for reminding me why I started." As the lights dimmed and the last plate was stacked away, Marcus realized that true leadership isn't about titles or power. It's about listening. It's about seeing the quiet struggles behind the counter and choosing compassion over control. Because sometimes the most powerful thing a boss can do is sit down like a customer and finally hear the whispers that everyone else ignores. Respect isn't earned by wealth. It's earned by humanity.